Game of the week. 5th down. This could have been Steelers, Eagles. I chose the Bills, Lions because this is a game of like Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills had just one of like a track meet fun games of the year. That Bills Rams game was exciting with block kicks and Josh Allen running in 3 touchdowns. It was a ton of fun. And then to see Stafford and Nakua out there's a couple of catches that Nakua made where you're like, how does a guy this big have that much body control on the sideline like that? Like it's like doesn't make sense with gravity. Some of the stuff that he was.
He's quickly just becoming one of my favorite players in the league because it's that I don't know. It's inside of him. You can't see it.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. French call that je ne sais quoi, my friend. That's I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I mean.
He doesn't run a 4-3 like it doesn't add up at all. But it's just in there, and it's a lot like his buddy Cooper Kupp.
Oh, there's been a lot of players like that over the years where you just watch them and you're like, I don't see how this works in sort of the packaging and the athletics, and you know how everybody else is out there, and it's just like, well, I'm just going to dominate you. It's just a will thing. It's like I just will do this. Because I can, because I want to, because I've prepared to do this. So, yeah, the game was so much. It was so much fun.
It's like Calvin Johnson being born in like a regular person's body, and he still plays like Calvin Johnson. It's insane to watch. It's unbelievable. I think Puka Nacua is one of the future wide receivers of the league.
He's phenomenal. He's a bit older. And had some injury concerns. Those are some of the things I worry about for him. But staying healthy for another 3-4 years and into his early 30s could put together a nice career, especially if they find a way to transition a quarterback. But let's talk about the Lions side of this, where you put up that video. We talked about it last week where I was rattling off names. And then later I saw your video come out with where you go through every name. It's literally a starting defense that's on IR for the Lions, and their defense just continues to attack and be better. And I think part of the reason for that is because of how dominant the offense is. Teams know they're going to have to score points. So the Lions defense, and Aaron Glenn's done a great job. And I think if I had to guess, he kind of feels like the next Saints head coach, but like a position like that where I could see him. I could see him ending up there. I could see the Saints going, yeah, let's bring in this guy here. Let's go ahead and let's bring some of that good magic, whatever they have going on up there in Detroit. Let's bring it down here. The Lions are in a spot where they are so physically dominant on offense and maintaining these super long possessions that like the defense is just able to compete. Making that move for Za'Darius Smith is great. Aleem McNeil is one of those guys that a lot of the average fan doesn't really know how good of a player he is. The Lions do. They gave him a contract extension, and then they're getting good play from the back end. Brian Branch is going to compete for all-pro honors this year. I think him and Derwin James have been consistently two of the best safety/nickel, all-around, do-it-all type defenders in the entire NFL this year. So I really look forward to watching this game. Again, this will be the first game that I rewatch Monday morning when I get up, just seeing how it shook out, trying to find those extra little details of like what were the separators in this. But I think ultimately the separator for me, Mike, is just going to be what I think the offensive line of the Lions is going to be able to do at home with a home field advantage, having the Bills hit a little bit of a skid here, and then all the fans just jumping off the bandwagon. Like I think the Lions are going to find a way to win this game, 27-24 type game at home.
Yeah, I mean, the games this week are unbelievable, like to a point that they got me staying home to watch them. That's how freaking awesome the games are. I want to see the Eagles-Steelers game. I want to see the Bills-Lions game, and this Bills-Lions game specifically because these are the two teams that I feel like, or I felt like, now are having cracks in the ship because of injuries, or the teams that the Chiefs cannot get through. That these were the two teams that stood in their way and said no to the three-peat. And with what the Bills defense just gave up to the Rams, and I always have said this, Tony, since day one, that I think their defense is extremely thin. And there's some players that have played amazing that I didn't even expect to play at the level that they're playing this year. That's put them, still top 10 caliber defense in the NFL, but it's starting to let up. The more and more guys they lose, the more and more guys get banged up. And on the Lions side of things, they do have the depth to survive this. We're clearly seeing it, but it's almost getting too much. It's an avalanche at this point. We're talking about half a roster. I've seen some comments. People are going, oh, Dan Campbell can survive this. Dan Campbell can survive this. Like, what are we talking about? We're talking about a UFL team at this point on defense. It's not. It's piling up to a point that I'm really starting to worry about both these teams. So I need to see this game to see if either of these teams can put these defensive worries to bed against absolutely lethal offenses. There's no worry about Josh Allen and this Bills offense and what they're going to do in this run in the playoffs and in this game. And there's no worry about the Lions offense can put on the football field. It's the defensive side of the ball. Who's going to step up? I personally think the Bills have the horses to do it, to throw at this Lions offense and slow them down enough for Josh Allen to win a high-scoring game. But we'll see how it goes. I'm picking the Bills to win the game, but I'm definitely not putting any of my picks on them, not putting any of my money on them because I have no confidence after seeing Matthew Stafford and the Rams offense as a whole just completely light them up this last week. I hope that both defenses look good, and this is lower scoring than I expected to be.
Yeah, I definitely think this is lower scoring. I thought that the Rams and the Bills had a real shot because you had two quarterbacks that are, like
fire.
When you get two guys that can throw the ball that well in a controlled environment, then it tends to be that way. And you have Puka and you have Cooper available to you out there. It's like McVay is going to throw the ball a lot. He's going to score, play and keep up with the Bills. Rams get that big, punt block touchdown, which I think was – it kind of put the game always like a step away from where Allen was able to control it. The end of the game time management thing. I understand what Tom Brady was saying. I'm probably trying to throw it too. I think if you have Keon Coleman, or Kincaid, maybe you can isolate and get a fade ball, try and get an easy score that way before you try to do the run in. I think this game to me, Mike, and it's not a prediction. I kind of wish it could just be the rule. If you get to the minus 45, so if you get to your own 45-yard line, you can't punt on fourth down. I don't think either of these teams want to punt or give the ball back. I think McDermott plays aggressive, and Dan Campbell gets out of bed aggressive. I would assume there's a hole, like from the first moment he gets out and just stomps on the floor there. Like Dan Campbell lives aggressively. So minus 45 or better, I don't think either of these teams are punting the ball. They're like, man, we're not giving it back to that guy. We're not giving it back to that offense to play ball control. Like we will see a fun game. Exciting. This
to me right now, Tony, I don't know how you feel about it. This to me is the most entertaining Super Bowl matchup we have on the table this year. This is the one. This will be that historic classic back and forth game that we dream of to be the championship game every year. I just hope that they can make it there. It's getting thin for both sides.